come straight.
तो दिखा रहा है इसमें live on Facebook.
अब आ जाएगा.
No, it is.
Yes,
it is
we are on live on Facebook now. So first of all, thank you so much for joining this event, National Nutrition Week. Let me introduce, because we have a couple of Facebook communities. They are going to join on live, and I'm glad to share that this Word of Wellness community, it started a few weeks ago. So we have a very good response, and I would say that there are more than 200 members who have joined. And in addition, we are also going to have this live on We Women community, which is all women community, and there are more than 50,000 members. And in addition, we also have a Facebook Live on Dr. Morgan Limited, which is a company essentially into large amount of nutraceutical healthcare products. And also in time to come, we will have a couple of more communities joining this live session. And I'm sure, Dr. Sharad, your members on your Facebook, they're also going to see this live session. So with these words, let me once again welcome all the participants joining this live session, and more important, our learned speakers today on the first day of National Nutrition Week, where we are going to see coming days some very interesting, important topics relevant to our health, our wellness, our well-being. And these are all extremely relevant, particularly in the backdrop of the pandemic. And in fact, one doesn't know really whether this pandemic is going to last for how long. But very important that coming up sessions are going to talk a lot more in terms of how we can, secure ourselves in order to making sure that health should not be taken as granted, rather until something goes wrong. So therefore, it is very important to, we call it prevention is better than cure, or rather prevention is cure. And therefore, with this vision and mission, this journey is going to be there with Word of Wellness community, and we'll have more sessions in time to come. With these words, let me first of all introduce today's learned speakers. And to begin with, I would like to introduce Dr. Nc Mishra, an amazing personality with many milestones, achievements in his career this far. Dr. Mishra, formerly director of All India Institute of Medical Science, with a very long journey, and he was head of the Department of General Surgery. He foresaw the need for specialized trauma care early on and established the Apex Trauma Center at All India Institute. He has, to his credit, over 198 original articles in indexed international journals. Currently, Dr. Mishra is President cum Vice Chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi University of Medical Science and Technology in Jaipur. And also, in addition, he is advisor to Chancellor and Professor Emergency Medicine in School of Medical Science and Research at Sharda University, Greater Noida. Dr. Mishra has been awarded recipient of Dr. B.C. Roy National Award, honored with citation and medallion by the President of India in 1997. He is known to be as a medical man of national and international repute and a man of fame in the area of trauma care. In fact, if I keep talking about Dr. Mishra, in fact, one can see on the Google, and I was totally amazed, his resume runs in 300 plus pages. So one can see the amount of work Dr. Mishra has done, and we are so honored and privileged to listen to his words of wisdom. And to be honest, that I am actually, nowhere to talk much about him, and I'm sure we will really enjoy his discussion. Coming next, Dr. Sharad Kasarle. I think whatever I say will be very little, because he's a man of an extraordinary wisdom, and more particularly on ancient wisdom and Ayurveda. In fact, he is truly an industry's voice of nutraceuticals and functional foods, specializing in the field of medical nutrition. And he is a food scientist and technologist and have done his PhD from UDCT, Mumbai. He carries over 3 decades of R&D, regulatory, marketing, expertise for chronic clinical conditions. He has been distinguished speakers at various national and international conferences. In his journey this far, he has worked at Alchem Labs, which is a very large pharmaceutical company, over $5 billion. He has worked for National Food Industries in Jeddah, and prior to that at Mariaco Limited, Corn Products Limited, and has promoted natural foods along with the change in lifestyle to help alleviate medical condition. He has been a versatile speaker on various subjects, and we will be listening to his talks in coming days as well. Let me introduce Mr. Rajiv Kapahi, a very dear friend, and again a versatile, seasoned business leader with experience of over 28 years, cross-functional and cross-industry experience in consulting, office automation. And he has worked with very interesting companies, right from Rico to Gillette, manufacturing company, Owens Healthcare, Max Healthcare, and in fact DLF Premica, which is a life insurance company. And last, when I started interacting more closely with him, he was a senior director with Boston Scientific, which is world's largest in skilled manufacturing company. So Mr. Rajiv Kapahi possesses a very strong management expertise, leadership skills, and together with broad business perspective developed across multinational environment globally. He is a qualified fellow member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. The last, I would like to just say a little bit about me. I am again a chartered accountant. I have spent over 3.5 decades across sectors at mid to senior level positions, and I decided to sort of get into my own way, and I picked up healthcare as my passion, as my commitment, and trying to build some equation over there where we can help people to bring in the preventive healthcare culture and also somewhat slowing down the chronic conditions based on absolutely on ancient wisdom and Ayurveda, our ancient knowledge, which can definitely address very chronic or even preventive related issues. So with these words, I would not like to take much time, and definitely there is lot to speak and we're going to discuss in coming days. I would request Dr. Mishra ji to share his words of wisdom, and I'm sure we'll be really enriching ourselves in terms of what is nutrition, what is health, what is wellness and well-being, and his experience is amazingly very rich, more than 40 years. So I'll request Dr. Mishra ji to share his views.
Thank you so much, Anil ji, and we welcome Rajiv ji and also Dr. Sharad for this organizing this event from 1st to 5th of September on Nutrition Week. When we talk of nutrition, as soon as we are born in this world, nutrition becomes important. And through childhood, we have seen in India, particularly in certain communities, Indian childhood cirrhosis in Brahmins and Baniyas. And that was because the nutrition was not optimal when we were bringing up our children in the now it has gone down because of awareness. Then when we grow, nutrition again is extremely important. And if we have seen through the pandemic, when we say that some people recovered without any problem, and some people, a small number of people who had comorbidities and they suffered with severe disease and also eventual death during COVID times. And also many post-COVID sequelae or conditions or symptoms, people still persist with that even after 1 year of recovery. Now we look at, if we look at the definition of WHO on health, it is physical, mental, emotional, social, and now we have also added a dimension which is spiritual dimension to health, which is so important. All these dimensions are linked to nutrition. Physical health, we all know that unless we have a balanced nutrition, our physical health will not be the same. Then when we say mental health, again, as I think you will tell, Dr. Sharad will tell how the Ayurvedic practices and also what nutrients can provide your better mental health so that we can reduce anxiety, stress in life, as so many people suffer from, and also later in life dealing with conditions like Alzheimer, dementia, etc. So nutrition is the key to life, basically. That's what I would say. And emotional, again, emotional health is also linked to nutrition, what we eat. And in our Sanatan Dharma, and when we call the way we are brought up, we cannot de-link Sattvic Bhojan, as we call it. Achar, Vyavhar, Vichar, and Ahar. Ahar is an integral component of our health. Now, if we look at which are the top illnesses which are responsible for disability adjusted life year lost globally, according to WHO, and cardiovascular diseases come on the top, mental health illnesses come second, and then there are injury, infections, and cancer, and then other injuries and other diseases. Now, if you look at these top three diseases, cardiovascular illnesses, mental health illnesses, and cancer, they are all linked to nutrition. Cardiovascular illness, what we call lifestyle. And lifestyle, besides maintaining our physical health by exercise, by walk, and keeping a balanced diet, we can be spared of cardiovascular diseases. Similarly, diabetes, these are lifestyle diseases. Hypertension, for example. So these are some of the diseases which are directly linked to our lifestyle, what we eat, how we walk, how we function, how much activity we do in the day, sedentary, non-sedentary. Then if you look at, there are certain distinct advantages we have had all these years and we still have. For example, if you look at the most common cancer in women, that is breast cancer in India, and then cervical cancer. Both are linked to our social well-being and also diet. Now, if you look at, it's on the rise. But if you look at incidence, in India, we have incidence is 20 to 30 per 100,000, opposed to US, Europe, and all developed nations, Japan, etc., where they have 140, 160 per 100,000. We have distinct advantage, but we are gradually losing that advantage as we are moving towards Western lifestyle, at least urbanized women. Of course, cervical cancer is more related to hygiene and human papilloma virus. So that is a social reason for that. And that is also has come down. It used to be the #1 cancer in India in women, but now it is #2 after breast cancer. But still, now if you look at another cancer, which is colorectal cancer, if you look at incidence in India, it is 6 per 100,000. While in Western countries, it is 36 per 100,000, 6 times. So this advantage is distinctly related to the diet. The Western diet is low residue diet and low fiber diet. If they don't go and clear their bowel every day, they are not concerned. But while in India, we are concerned. And that is because Our diet has been as such, the high fiber diet what we take. So the role of diet in terms of like fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and fresh food, particularly in Ayurveda, Dr. Sharad will elaborate on that more. Actually, in olden days, when there were no refrigerators, then it is a dictum in Ayurveda that don't eat what the food was cooked in the day, and don't eat the next day the food cooked the previous day. And then many other basically recommendations about food in our household. And if we consume what we get fresh from the basically plant-based food, that is what something which will prevent a lot of the diseases related to all these systems, what we cardiovascular, mental health illnesses, cancer, etc., and also do some physical activity. And that is the advantage what we have had. So with long time, now we are losing that advantage because we are also falling in the trap of the preserved food, which is definitely harmful. And also the cooking medium also is responsible for this menace. And when we come to say from childhood, so naturally it all depends. India still has a, like if you remember Mr. Modi from the on 15th August commented upon nutrition in children. That's a huge issue in India, that we are not able to optimal nutrition to our growing population below 5 years of age or below 10 years of age. And that is what has to be done. But again, those who have access to food, and they have access to any food for that matter. And today, when both the wife and husband work, the cooking is becoming out of fashion at home. And the health is the major victim of this. What we get, fast food, junk food, what we call, we take all these fizz drinks which are unhealthy from the word go. So there are a whole lot of and then if you look at the way we cook our food, whatever ingredients we put in, spices, whether it's haldi, whether it's methi, whether it's adrak, whatever we use, lesson. So all these things have beneficial effect. Besides that, I'm sure Dr. Sharad will talk about Ayurvedic herbs, how the ashwagandha, the role of other herbs in our daily routine, which we should be using in some form or the other. And particularly when we have, what happens when we grow, our requirement for calories go down. So we start eating less. And in that process, we might be compromising on the quality of food. And that is where maybe these supplements, which are immunity boosters, so-called, and it is not that one can build this immunity overnight. It has to be a well thought of plan from the beginning. And that is what we discuss. So, and in elderly age group, when we grow and our appetite goes down, our physical activity go down, we don't feel like to eat, we feel full all in the evenings, so our intake goes down. And that is where these supplements also work quite well, because you get in a small quantity, and that will benefit in various forms. So I think the food is the major component. And if you look at, if you go anywhere as a pleasure trip, what are the two or three things we spend money on? We spend money on our transport or travel. We spend money on our accommodation. And the third area where we spend money is food. So if even after spending money, if we don't get the right kind of food, and we don't choose to consume right kind of food, then the fault is with nobody except of ourselves. And that is what I think people have to understand, that they need to think about what they are eating. Okay, for a change, it's okay. We also want to eat a pizza maybe once in 2 weeks. But if you start eating that every day, or the burger, or the lot of non-veg food, which is harmful actually. And that is something, if you look at even the colon cancer is directly linked to the red meat. Besides other lifestyle problems of smoking, alcohol. Now, if India, you look at the habit of chewing tobacco, besides smoke tobacco, that gives a oral cancer, which is, I think, largely 80% of cancer in India, which is the head and neck cancer, is preventable if we can control tobacco, chewing or smoke tobacco. Lung cancer, for example, it's increasing. Many other cancers are linked to smoking, like pancreatic cancer, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, the breast cancer. And then what it does, this kind of a low quality food, which is rich in calories in terms of fat and other carbohydrate, but less protein. So that is something which gives us this obesity. What we are now in the era of epidemic of obesity in India. And actually, in 2006, when we were developing the morbid obesity surgery at All India Institute, I was not sure whether we'll get enough patients from low socioeconomic group or middle socioeconomic group for the bariatric surgery. But it was a basically, to my surprise, basically what we felt that morbid obesity is actually fairly common in this age group, in this section of society. Rather, those who are rich or above middle class, they actually are conscious of their health. So they don't eat so much junk food as the lower middle class and middle class eats that food. Like if you go to a movie, what do they do? They sit 2 hours, 3 hours, then they take a big popcorn and then take a big Coke. So that is something, I think that is something which gives so many calories that you cannot burn even for a week if you keep walking. So I think that is what people have to all the time think about. Are we doing enough physical activity to burn our calories? And quality of calories, which is so important. Balance of protein, balance of fat, balance of carbohydrate. What in India, I agree that all of us are very fond of sweets. And that's a pure carbohydrate. A lot of people consume wheat as a chapati. So rice, for staple diet in most coastal areas is the rice, but they offset it with fish and other things. So that is something good. But I think that is what I would say, that people have to think about their health from the beginning and not when it is late. I think that is what the message I want to give, that one has to think about. And we have don't have to buy expensive fruits, seasonal fruits. Now this May or April to September or August, we had a lot of variety of mangoes coming in. Enjoy mangoes. Now in winter, we will have a lot of apple coming in from Himachal, from Kashmir, and from other areas. So India is privileged to have all the seasons which give us everything. Nature has given us everything. What we have done, we have spoiled the nature. Like our rivers, we have polluted. This is what we have done. Nature did not do this. So I think we need to be conscious of our surroundings. And each citizen, I would say, of the country is responsible. You cannot just say the governments have to do this. I think each citizen has the responsibility to make this country what this country is. Beautiful country, and it has been a beautiful country in the past. We can again do it, but we will need participation from each and every person in our society. And that is what, and if they can keep their health together, they contribute to the national build-up. Also, nation building if we keep our health together, intact, we will contribute to our nation much more. So that is something we need to do. And I would uh, say that take care of health. And that we have seen in COVID times, those who took care of their health well, they recovered without any problem. But those who were obese, who had comorbidities, they suffered. Many of them died, and they are still suffering post-COVID. So I think if we keep our health and simple yoga and meditation, diet, exercise, take out 1 hour in a day, not more. 45 minutes to 1 hour in a day is not difficult to take out. I think that is something if people cannot do, then I think the God will also cannot save such many of us. So I'll stop there, and thank you so much again for giving me this opportunity. And I'll keep the logged on the program and listen to the other, but I'll keep the video off.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saab. I mean, amazing insight, fantastic. And in fact, just to add, as you rightly said, that we are responsible, way we have exploited the mother nature. And what we have seen during this March 2020, when the pandemic started, and we were all imprisoned, in our houses. So within short period of time, 2 months, the nature became beautiful. Our Ganges became clean effortlessly. Our, we can see the blue sky.
Absolutely.
We were eating home food. There was no need to go to any medical emergency, surgical intervention. They also got avoided, and we felt very good. But now, after this, what we see, we are back to pavilion. I mean, things have started surfacing.
Human habitat has destroyed, so we have to see how we can maintain. Like people in Europe, they have we know that that's a strength, that's a weakness. So both ways it goes. So we have to see how we can make people aware, and also let them also participate in this nation building. I think that is what is needed most today in our country.
Very true, very true. Thank you so much, Raksab. It's a wonderful insight in terms of what one needs to take care. And you please be there, because there will be a couple of questions which will be coming, and I'll request Dr. Sharad Kasarle to share his words of wisdom. And in fact, there are many, many things which you talked about Ayurveda. You talked about the mother nature, the power of mother nature, the nutrients, our spices, herbs, etc. And Dr. Sharad has an incredible knowledge, expertise, experience around this. So over to you, Dr. Sharad.
Thank you, Mr. Anil Khandelwal, and good evening, everybody, all speakers and viewers. Nutrition, as the word goes, it is life, basically. There are 6 nutrients, what normally we know or recognize. That is water, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. But I believe there is a 7th nutrient, which is known as nucleotides, which our fruits and vegetables gift us. All these nature's gifts, I would say that these are wonders of nature. They are blessed with oxygen radical absorbance capacity. During pandemic, we know that how much oxygen is really critical and crucial. For example, cinnamon has got ORAC, that is oxygen radical absorbance capacity of over 2 lakhs, that is 2,65,000. Whereas turmeric extract curcumin has got ORAC value of about 15 lakhs, and turmeric has got ORAC value of 1,24,000. These figures are by heart to me, because every day to deal with the various types of patients and recommending them medical nutrition, recommending the mother nature's herbal extracts or the purity, these factors go hand in hand especially when the patients with comorbidities like diabetes, diabetic complications, or chronic kidney disease, or even cancers, because they already are suffering from low blood oxygen carrying capacity. So the chances of risk factors like hypoxia, hypoxemia, and also fibrosis of lungs, liver, they are deadly. And as Dr. Mishra said, many patients with comorbidity lost their lives during COVID pandemic. Now, coming back to food, nature has blessed us there's a broad spectrum, I would say, that rainbow of nutrition, like fruits, vegetables, spices, herbs, condiments, medicinal plants. There are over 300,000 medicinal plants. And I'm feeling proud that during my research tenure of more than 3 decades, I have studied myself over 75,000 medicinal plants and their incredible role in healing. So as my Facebook posts and various other simple tips, I say the simple tips on your lips. And these are life-saving credentials of our Mother Nature, who is servicing us over 5,000 years. So in short, I will say, there is no alternative to Mother Nature. So why Mother Nature resources are treated as alternative medicine?
Very true.
So this is a very important question. Now coming back to nutrition, as my expertise as a food scientist and technologist, a little correction in Anil Bhai's profile that I am a medical practitioner, practicing medical nutrition. I am practicing medicinal herbs, Ayurveda, as well as guiding people in my consultancy without charging any fees, guiding patients with the chronic diseases, what type of nutrition, what type of medicinal herbs that will benefit to their chronic conditions. Very important point that we would like to set up during this nutrition week, especially during my 2 talks. On 2nd, that is tomorrow, food is the medicine. And on 4th, gut-brain connectivity. Now, food is the medicine. This word has got, this particular sentence is written in 300 BC by Hippocrates, not by anybody else. So if we believe that food is the medicine, we should believe that food should be consumed like a medicine. Food should be prayed before consumption. So Naivedyam becomes prasadam. See, we offer food praying to the God, and the same food we accept it with love and care and everything. Housewife similarly prepares the food in the kitchen with the love, care, and affection about her family, thinking that her family should be healthy. So every ingredient she selects in the kitchen undergoes her own quality control tests, quality assurance tests, and then she serves the food with that much love, care, and affection. So that is why I say food is the medicine. So kitchen becomes clinic.
One point which you said that kitchen, where the ingredients are love, affection, all that. And don't you think that kitchen is actually the best clinic, and the mother or the wife is the best clinician?
Yeah, she is the physician for the entire family.
Yes.
And what is immunity all about? Immunity is nothing but unity of all your organs. Can you say that you are having a hypertension or heart problems and you are thinking about immunity? No, immunity is nothing but all the perfect balance of hormones. Like you have insulin, you have glucagon, you have estrogens, progesterone, then you have melatonin, dopamine, serotonin, all these hormones, when they dance together with happiness, that is called immunity. And the best way, the food is the immunity, because it controls, it gives power to your mind, body, and soul. It first treats your soul, then it treats mind. And once your mind is healed, then automatically your body is healed. Disease is what? When you are at ease, no disease can happen. So that is disease. So when you are at ease, when you are experiencing ananda, when you are experiencing happiness, satisfaction, and that is what your food gives. When wife says to you that today I am preparing so and so, so you get excited, or she takes care that what you would like to have. That is a question normally housewife asks. So there is a science behind it. And what is Ayurveda basically? Ayurveda is nothing but all Vedic scriptures. There is a huge documentation already happened in Ayurveda. So if someone is saying that where is the documentation, these are not scientifically or clinically proven, I would like to quickly give 2-3 examples. If you have ever come across Vishnu Sahasranam, there Brahmi is defined. Brahmi is nature's brain. Now in Vishnu Sahasranam, Brahmavid Brahmano Brahmi, Brahmavid Brahmagno Brahmana Priya. Brahmagni is what? Brahmagni is that is your gut fire, that is Jataragni. Brahmagno, that is Agni, that is which is there in your gut, takes care of digestion, metabolism, absorption of nutrients, and that is how you feel very healthy. And remember, all these neurological, neuropsychiatric, neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, even stroke, insomnia, epilepsy, all these initiate from your gut, from the brain, because gut has 100 million neurons out of 100 billion neurons in the brain. So there is a much science behind it. Now there is another beautiful herb which I would like to mention, that is Shatavari. Shatavari, Shata means 100, Vari means blessings. It has got hundreds of blessings, and there is a stotra about Shatavari herb which very few people know. Shatamanam Bhavati, that means you live 100 years. Shatayu, that means your Ayu should be at least 100. Shatamanam Bhavati Shatayu Purusha Shatendriye. Shatendriye means you have hundreds of organs. We only know 4 or 5 organs. Shatendriye means there are hundreds of organs. Purusha Shatendriye, Ayush Shevendriye, Pratitishthati. That means you live not only longer, but you live healthy. Because living longer has no sense. You are suffering, you are bedridden, or you are paralyzed, or you are having multiple health problems, and then you are living. That has no meaning at all. So that is why the real dhan is arogya. Arogyam dhana sampada. Why they say? Because no matter you are billionaire or trillionaire, but if you are bedridden and your health is, you are suffering by health, no money can bring you back your health. So health is not wealth. Health is billion times important than wealth. So this is very important, I would like to say. One more thing, as a scientist, food scientist and technologist, of course, and with so much of research background, I would like to say that what we eat has to be pure and safe, and that is the basic efforts by the experts which are involved in the formulation development, that is R&D, and also manufacturing and quality assurance. Now, the very important factor about the regulatory should come out very clearly, even on the labels, that the presence of poisonous metals like lead, arsenic, mercury, cadmium, these are the poisonous metals. Suddenly we hear that person was all right. Yesterday I had dinner with him, and tomorrow he is having kidney failure, or he is terribly sick and diagnosed with cancer. How many people we know? Because the presence of poisonous metals through your food, through your soil, through chemical fertilizers, and through pesticides, all these things are happening adversely on your health. Another one is allergens, food allergens. There are a lot of allergens. Allergens are proteins like gluten and wheat. So these type of soya, eggs, fish has got a lot of mercury poisoning nowadays. So these are very, very, very dangerous for human health. And what we suggest, what I normally as a scientist take into consideration, that the food which is consumed by children, consumed by pregnant, lactating, nursing, by geriatric population, has to be safe. First of all, it should be free from poisonous metals. It should be free from allergens. It should be free from bacteria, like bacteria, various types of microbacteria. So these are, and pathogens, these are very, very harmful for human beings, and these are irreversible. For example, E. coli poisoning. Dr. Mishra will definitely say how dangerous is E. coli poisoning or salmonella poisoning that can happen to bad and rough processing of food without having any proper quality assurance. The same thing applies for herbs. Now, the difference between the herbal powders and herbal extracts is very much important. The person who is making the formulation only with herbal powders, without standardizing and without even finding out with respect to all these deteriorating factors like microbacteria, then poisonous metals, allergens, and there are toxins like aflatoxins, mycotoxins, all these type of toxins which can damage your brain, which can damage your kidney, which can damage your pancreas, which can damage your vascular system, and which can damage your entire gut function. Gut is the largest endocrine organ. So gut function, once the gut is disturbed, your brain is disturbed, and brain is the remote control of our body. So it is very, very important that what we eat food should be like a medicine. So the standards of food should be equivalent to the standards of medicine. And this is what I normally suggest to my industry friends, that quality assurance is very, very important. Another thing is use of chemicals like colors, artificial flavors, preservatives, and all this. Can we say food is the medicine if food is colored with artificial colors? Can we say food is the medicine if it has got harmful preservatives? Can we say food is the medicine if it has got some aflatoxins or heavily contaminated with bacteria? So all these things, how consumer can know that a particular product or particular brand is really safe to consume? That is why all the regulatory, like food safety standards, all the regulatories are named by the name of safety has come, or European Food Safety, that is EFSAI, that is European Food Safety Standards. Everywhere there is a safety word, so branded. But what about, there are so many products which are sold unbranded where quality is not regulated. So this is a big, big thing that one has to consider, and one has to seriously think, because once I know CKD patients, they are undergoing dialysis, that their creatinine levels are very high, and GFR, that is glomerular filtration rate, drops to critically low, and people really struggle, and every day becomes the nightmare for their family members. Even cancers are growing at the rate of 500%, and this is a huge statistics, and this is not a good sign. As Dr. Mishra said, breast cancer is on the top, but colon, esophageal, even lungs and liver, because of pollution. And what is happening really is everyone, all of us are now living with compromised lung capacity, because there are a lot of smokers around, and smokers, not only smokers, but the pollution, and also the detrimental effect of all these contaminants which are there in your foods and herbal products. So standardization of herbal extracts with respect to all these toxic elements is very, very critical, and the consumer must be communicated. Instead of a brand ambassador or a celebrity talking about that this product is excellent, let them talk about the scientific parameters. Let the scientific parameters, that my product is free from aflatoxin, my product is free from heavy metals, my product is free from bacterial contamination. So all this should be the merited qualities of a product, and this is very important, because right from, as Dr. Mishra has highlighted beautifully, that right from the age one, in fact, I will say that when we are in mother's womb, from that day, our nutrition starts. So the nutrition is very important. There are critical nutrients like MCT coconut oil, that is medium chain triglycerides. It really works from our day zero to till we live maybe about 100 years, because it is a brain booster. It gets absorbed in blood-brain barrier, and it boosts the brain, and that is how you feel very energetic, your metabolism is taken care, your liver function is healthy, your heart is healthy, your kidney is healthy, and that is what is immunity. Curcumin turmeric extract, as I mentioned, very high ORAC value, cinnamon, clove, cardamom, these are the naturally gifted. Another one is kalonji, what I would like to mention, which has got 600% RDA of iron. Curcumin turmeric has got 517% RDA of iron. Many people, in fact, anemia is the major malnutrition problem, not only India, but also globally. So anemia or hemoglobin deficiency, hemoglobin is nothing but oxygen transporter. So we know how oxygen is important, and that oxygen is really boosted by these particular nature or natural extracts. Curcumin is an extract of turmeric. So these are very, very important things, that what we eat, we are what we eat basically, and that is very important. One has to follow, and there are a lot of simple tips which I normally circulate through my personal Facebook, and also through World of Wellness, I would be sharing a lot of articles on how to increase hemoglobin, then how to lower creatinine levels in case of CKD with respect to food and nutrition, how to improve GFR in case of chronic kidney disease patients. What are the best foods that can keep your diabetes under control, blood sugar under control? What are the best foods that can keep blood pressure under control, blood cholesterol under control? Too much of lowering of cholesterol is also detrimental or dangerous. Too much lowering of cholesterol can lead to cancers. How vitamin D plays a role in our cellular metabolism, cellular rejuvenation, and also energizing all our cells. So these are very important things one has to learn. It is not possible to explain all these things in 15-20 minutes talk. But when time comes and through our regular posts, we would like to educate on authentic tips. There are a lot of information available on Google or Dr. Google, I would like to say. So there are a lot of information already available, lot of WhatsApp posts and lot of internet posts are there. But this forum, as far as I am concerned, through the scientific research, this will be only evidence-based science, and Mother Nature's incredible resources and incredible services that can treat chronic diseases and disorders. And that is what I would like to give a small message, that please take care of your health. Don't take junk foods and leave the habit of smoking. If you are having alcohol, too much of alcohol, and also I would say that prefer to have more alkaline foods, less of acidic foods, because nowadays in COVID pandemic, we have seen the elevated levels of CRP, that is C-reactive protein, and their dangerous effects on and complications on the body, and also it can lead to death. So there are a lot of other things which I would be covering in my lectures, especially in gut-brain connectivity, that would be really helpful. And these will be the simple tips covering a lot of important aspects of, first of all, purity. You know, importantly, I say that don't go by a brand, don't go by a particular product like Ashwagandha or Shatavari. If they are not pure, if they are contaminated, if they are with poisonous metals, if they are with heavily contaminated with bacteria, they are no longer good. So one has to ensure that what you consume is really the food for your soul, food for your mood. All these things are very, very important. Another thing I would like to quickly mention about the trans fats. Now, nature is a wonderful formulator. Nature never uses artificial colors. Nature never uses artificial flavors. Nature never uses preservatives to preserve its own resources. Edible oils are not bad, but when they are hydrogenated, this hydrogenated is done by the business people to increase the melting point of the fat so that it can be used in bakery, it can be used in pastries, it can be used in some other specialty foods where you can increase the melting point. My dear friends, these trans fats are killers. They cut your heart in two ways. They lower your HDL, which is a good cholesterol. It is very difficult to boost HDL cholesterol. And hardly, even we say that 1 hour exercise, I don't think hardly 10% people would be doing exercise and spending 1 hour time out of 24 hours. So that is also true. Everybody says yoga, meditation is very good, but how many people, they sincerely ask your heart, are you doing yoga and meditation every day? The answer will be no. So when our lifestyle, and we give that examples of lifestyle, so please make sure that you don't consume trans fats. Trans fats, and that labeling declaration that our regulatory must make compulsory, because the amount of trans fats are really killing. And these are the particular things which I would like to mention. And also omega-3, more and more emphasis on omega-3 fatty acids and coenzymes, that is coenzyme Q10. And there are certain nucleotides, which I mentioned in my beginning, that nucleotides which are blessed in pomegranate, which are blessed in various types of berries. These are really wonderful, and one has to really follow all these advices. And with this small note, I would say that 4 slogans only, that is, food is the medicine, provided you treat food like a medicine. Number 2, kitchen becomes your clinic. The management of obesity, diabetes, cancers, and thyroidism is not in the clinic, but in your own kitchen. So follow the food religiously, and what you eat, you are what you eat. So you be careful. Appreciate your housewife. She is Annapurna of the family, and she takes ultimate care. Support her, and that is what I would like to say. And balanced diet. See, there are a lot of posts and lot of suggestions even in the internet that whether 2 times meals or 3 times meals or 4 times meals, and there are a lot of opinions, they keep on varying. But I would like to say one thing, that for diabetics, whenever you have hypoglycemia, glucose becomes your medicine. Whenever you are hypotensive, your salt becomes the medicine. Whenever you are hypercholesterol or hypocholesterol, when the cholesterol levels are dangerously low, your ghee or pure cow ghee becomes your medicine. So food is the medicine, provided you require a guru in every field. Even in food, self-medication can be dangerous. Example is, beetroot can lower your blood pressure. But those with hypotensive, if they consume beet, they may enter into medical complications, including heart failures. So never experiment and never go blindly by what is given on internet. Always there should be a guru to follow. And guru is nothing but who is advising you 100% truth, 100% authentic, 100% science-based facts. And this is what day and night. In fact, I take an effort to write posts, create awareness amongst common people, and also create awareness amongst doctors, medical experts, because they are the ones who are going to guide the patients. So the role of a medical nutrition expert or a functional food expert is something that to create awareness, that to let the people know about what are the various nutrients they will require, and what is their role in keeping their entire metabolism, digestion, absorption, and all the organs in unity. That is what I say, that the immunity. And immunity is the best defense, because no matter your internal strength, that internal strength is what will define your external beauty or confidence. And that's all. I think I'm really thankful for this particular forum. Thankful to Yogicsecret, Anil Bhai, and of course, Dr. Mishra. I'm a very, very ordinary, very small person in front of him. I keep on listening to him on televisions, and I really follow. And I'm very passionate. And I say that I'm not a scientist. I'm not a scientist of the what you can say food and nutrition. But I say that I'm a real Mother Nature lover, and I'm scientist of the Mother Nature. And I would like to study more and more about this, and with the help of medical, because ultimately it goes to the medical. Now, nutraceuticals, more than 70% is prescribed today. It is going through doctors. So medical health is absolutely essential in order to recognize medical nutrition, in order to recognize medicinal herbs and their authenticity, of course, and their purity and safety. I think India can become the wellness capital of the world. India should not be diabetic capital of the world. India should not be cancer capital of the world. India should not be arthritis capital of the world. India should be wellness capital of the world. And that should be the forum for, I think, the group World of Wellness. And I'm really congratulating Mr. Anil Khandelwal ji and Rajiv Kapahi ji and entire team of Yogicsecret for organizing such a beautiful forum and keeping expert speakers which can add value not only to the various experts in the industry, but also to patients who are suffering with their day-to-day activities and day-to-day life, day-to-day medical problems. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharadji. I think it's a wonderful hearing you as always. And you truly said that food is actually the true medicine before medicine becomes the food. And another very important, which I totally agree with you, that whatever nutrients or supplements or food, I mean, in fact, the worry is that the insecticide, the pesticide, the aflatoxins and all that, they are real cause of worry, because the heavy metals deposit in the body somewhere or the other they give a surprise disease, and which becomes, very troublesome to sort it out. And therefore, what we are trying to ensure with your guidance, that each of the supplement, they have to pass the test of heavy metals, or microbial test, or preservative free, or a gluten free, or whatnot. And therefore, what we believe, the efficacy has to be there. It is not just taking a supplement, but it has to really function. And the eventually what we are trying to look at is that how we can age healthily, and not just age should become a number. We should age healthily, so that my effectiveness, my activeness, my healthy quotient should remain strong. Another very important, you rightly said that kitchen is actually, in true sense, is the clinic. Because if we eat good food, healthy food, and made with love and care, is actually the real medicine. I'm sure, coupled with yoga, meditation, all these things are really very important. And therefore, in fact, if I have to define the definition of health, health is not the absence of disease, but health is the defense system in our body, right, which can fight with any kind of virus, bacteria. So it is the defense system which can be built into our body by applying certain principles as the body is aging. I was reading a book called Why Age. In fact, the reflection is exactly what you said in what you said just before. Well, there are a lot to talk about, and request Rajiv Bhai to share his words of wisdom. And in fact, I forgot to mention, he was on the governing board of Net Health, and he has interacted with very interesting personalities. So I'm sure he will have a lot to share in terms of what nutrition means to the life. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Anil Bhai. Much appreciate. But after two luminaries speaking, both Dr. Mishra and Dr. Sharad Kasarle, there is not much to be said, because I think Dr. Mishra has given the entire global perspective, as also articulated, how he in his spheres has led as the director for AIIMS, and obviously shaped up the healthcare framework of this country, and also still doing both impacting India and overseas globally. So really outstanding and amazing as always to listen what his words of wisdom bring. And obviously Dr. Sharad Bhai, I would say, with his such a passionate, engaging and insightful speech, or the words, and I remember as they used to say that in Cuba, after the erstwhile Cuba, after Mr. Fidel Castro used to speak, there was not much left to be said. So I think after Sharad Bhai, the way his passionate inputs, insights, he's covered the entire length and breadth, and for us also he's a walking encyclopedia on Ayurveda and insightful wisdom on nutrition. So I would not touch upon those aspects, but I would say that I would give it as a I would say quasi entrepreneur today, and as a corporate citizen of the country, looking at the way as chartered accountants we shape up, that everything has to have a something which is a spin of financial, because finance loves runs the world, and in that space, given that perspective, I think it's important that it is just not what these two gentlemen have articulated. But I think what you eat in private, you wear in public, is what we see. And so eat clean, look lean. It is so important for the world, not just of today, for tomorrow, because at every stage of life, as both these luminaries touched upon, it is important that how a healthy lifestyle, right from the day we are born, and how it is to be a major priority for us in the quest for a meaningful living and meaningful life. And as all the experts tell us, that nutrition is the anchor, whether it is good food, healthy food, or diet food, whatever we eat, it is to inspire us, to give us the quality of life, because as we know that nutrition influences every aspect. We get up in the morning till the time we sleep, if we eat right, it shapes up our moods, it shapes up our emotions. And it's just not all the key ingredients of food as Sharad Bhai articulated, or what Dr. Mishra articulated. I think it's also important to mix it with the exercise. And as some learned luminary said, that if exercise is the king, nutrition is the queen, and together they make the kingdom. So if one has to really live a complete life, it is to eat what is not just a necessity, but eat intelligently, because that's an art. Because our bodies are kind of gardens which also need that the right essence of essential element, which is also enabling not just to live but also to heal, to build, to rebuild, to repair. And I think regulation of our body functions is so critical, because it is, I would say, as a few learned people have said, take care of your body, because it's the only place you live. We don't have any other replacement. We can't take our soul out, put it into something else. It is important, and whatever amount of money we make, whatever amount of wealth we create, whatever we do in terms of business, in terms of professional courses, whatever we do in life, because if we don't have the right body, it is all got to be of no use. We may spend, we may create millions of dollars in our account, but if you've got to spend all that money to kind of just go through or manage the diseases, is it worth it? And I don't think it is worth it, because as they say that, tell me what you eat and I'll tell you who you are, because it reflects on your face, it reflects on your every action, it reflects you as a complete person. Because it is extremely important that it is a kind of a cohesive perspective, that it is to make us recover from our challenges. And it's, as Sharad Bhai mentioned, that it is the it's just not the medicine, it's the way that to keep drinking also, water also. And as I think Dr. Mishra was mentioning, in terms of all these drinks, but whatever are taken in also, these are not the healthiest of pieces, because these are also impacting, and they are, mind you, as an essential part of a nutrition as anything else. Because if our body is got to be worshipped like a temple, it has got to be put in with the right inputs. Even in this high-tech age, the low-tech plants continue to be the key nutrition of health. And it is not that one can eat these processed foods, and one should eat to live, not live to eat. People keep putting in junk food, people keep putting in so much of a rot, so much of items which ultimately lead to disease states. And even though we know that all these are money making areas, because a lot of companies, a lot of corporates, a lot of big companies spend good amount of dollars in creating the right input to what is tasty. And at times, mind you, what is tasty is not the best thing, because what we eat, either it can be the safest and most powerful form of medicine, or it's the slowest form of poison. And that is something, if we don't realize it, it is something which is going to haunt us. All these ailments, like Dr. Mishra was mentioning of cancer, which is really becoming like a pandemic today. And I think both these doctors touched upon the point that during COVID days, people who lived through, people who survived, were not just the people who kind of managed with the medicines or managed the hospital. People who had the best immunity possible, people who had the best physical fitness possible, people who had least of ailments, because anything what was given, it became problem. And as we know that 95% of all chronic diseases is caused by the food choices, toxic foods, ingredients, nutritional deficiencies, and lack of physical exercises. So if 95% of the chronic diseases are caused by it, what are we doing? Are we also? And I think besides us talking as people who have been experienced, I think it's important to inculcate these in our youth. It is important to inculcate these in our children at our home, inculcate these in the framework of what way the kids are advised on the various aspects of nutrition. Because if it is not to be done now, all amount of the chemicals which are coming into the food, the fake foods which are coming in, the like Dr. Sharad mentioned about the chemically flavored, mechanically created all these colors, etc., is all not natural, and it is immoral, I would say, in a way, to ban good eating, good cooking. Today, I would say that everybody wants to eat out, but then let's eat out at a place which is still having holistic, aspects of cooking, holistic ways of, preserving things or putting them on the table. Life expectancy is expected to grow, or it is growing, but if the right, ingredients are putting in, it will be less stressful. More diseases, more, supplementary foods, etc., will not be required. It will be the core eating which will help ourselves, which will help us not just live our lives easy, but also at the same time ensure that we are more, I would say, fun loving, more enterprising. Every piece, if our minds are not in the right frame, whatever we may say, whatever we may do, we are not going to be a success in life. People may make, people may go through, people may just keep living, but it will not be a complete holistic living, because that's also important, that as our minds are, if you've got to be spiritually also to be more entwined with the way a complete holistic living is, it is all basis the right food elements what goes into our body. Face is the index of mind. If we eat right, we feel right, we think right, I think it will reflect on our persona. And I think those are important. As corporate leaders, I had looked at also multiple people over the years. People who actually made a difference were all who were fit and fine, who inspired others, who people used to look up to, who were always ahead in the front, people who were not even able to take care of themselves. And that is also important. People say today, if you look at as folks, we are into the startup business, startup space, we are funding startups, we are engaging in as mentors, as coaches, as incubators of startups. People put their dollars, people put their money, people put their rupees in entrepreneurs, in promoters who are healthy, who are fit. Because if they cannot manage them, how will they manage their resources? How will they build organizations? How will they build their homes? How will they build their families? And that is going to be, I think, an important factor in the creation of the world of tomorrow. We may have the best connected world, but if we are not mentally, physically, spiritually healthy, and all this is basis what we taken into our body. So, short of repeating and saying that what you eat in private, you wear in public. So I think I would not like to, keep repeating so many things. I would just like to say that let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to the natural. Get back to the organic approach. Let's ensure we align, synchronize with Mother Nature. Let's ensure that we drink the right water. We drink the right inputs, not all these carbonated preservatives, artificially induced stuff, which is not going to lead us anywhere. And we are going to sound the death knell. We may survive on medicines which are only chemicals, which are not really the right things. And I think we are going to take the world back, the disease. And we know that all amount of medicines, all amount of wealth, all amount of the things could not save patients from the COVID situation. So why? And people who survived were all with the right nutrition. So I think going back, let's go to the basics. And Anil bhai, you touched upon the point, the rivers were much more, great during the, COVID times, when the less of the pollutions and less of things were there. I think the time is right, the time is ripe. Let us, as collectively, as collaboratively, keep engaging, keep influencing, and leave the world of tomorrow, which we are proud and which our kids are, I would say, appreciative to take it forward. And let's make the world to be a much better place to live in with the right nutrition. So over to you. Thank you so much for engaging, giving us this opportunity and bringing us together. And all the very best.
Thank you so much, Rajiv bhai. One very important dimension to this discussion, which I believe that is equally important, that a lot of negativity is there, because we have left simplicity somewhere in the corner. We have made our life very complicated, right? And I think it is very important that we need to reflect while we are talking of health, wellness, or well-being. I think they should not just remain as words, but more important is philosophy or the lifestyle. Dr. Mishra ji talked about yoga, meditation. Dr. Sharad ji talked about the kitchen is a clinic, the love and care which gets into it. So while we talk about that, somewhere these practices are not getting into life of, large section of people. And also, we are not in the sun. As an example, we're talking about vitamin D deficiency, which is 80-90% of the population, and that is one of the root cause of diseases. and probably that leads to the chronic inflammatory disease or oxidative stress or whatever we may call it. Probably a lot of information is there, and that information is not the knowledge. And that's where the negativity, and also on top of it, what we see that, whether it is news or Netflix or, so many, we become addicted to so many electronic gadgets most of the time. Our WhatsApp time consumption, as an example, point is that we are making our life even more complicated, and that's somewhere also impacting on our brain function, the cognitive. Earlier people used to be very alert, very agile, very active, very healthy, and the social fabric was very strong. That social fabric is also getting broken as we see, right? So somewhere these are also the factors which are causing dents somewhere or the other. So I would request Dr. Mishra ji and Dr. Zabe ji to share what do you say about these. These are also somewhere, hitting our wellness and well-being.
Oh, I think, Anilji, you have brought a very, very important component of healthy living, and it has been brought out in a long-term study at Harvard. You may have seen the WhatsApp circulation of this study, where they followed up people from young age to old age. And when they analyzed that who lived longer, the food and exercise was lower down than relationships, happy relationships. So the importance of what you just said, social fabric, the healthy relationship, friendships, they are part of healthy living. And that is something which has been studied, and it has been proved. And somewhere it was on the. We have seen patients who undergo treatment, surgical treatment, medical treatment. Those who are depressed have a poorer outcome. Those who are cheerful and take the disease in its own stride, they do much better. And in COVID also it has happened. People who were depressed and they were unwilling to do breathing exercise when their lung were involved, they succumbed. While many of those with even severe pneumonia came out just because of their sheer willpower and prone breathing, etc. They were doing aggressively and they recovered. So this cannot be overemphasized. The social fabric, the health, the relationships. Naturally, the relationships are healthy, and you are happy. Your children are
I think there is some connectivity issue. Yeah, maybe Mishra ji will be back. Maybe, yeah, you're there. Yes.
okay. So this, I think, what you have brought about a very, very important component of healthy and happy living.
Yeah.
And this is something which we always in Indian culture, in Indian family system, we had inbuilt. But nowadays, with a lot of this, I don't know whether you have heard something being discussed in US context, the woke culture, where the people are just disengaging from families, which is bad for society.
Absolutely.
And this is the leftist agenda to destroy societies like this. This is very much, there are a lot of discussions going on that may. So this may actually is the root problem. And if we can do hum, in USA, if you see, this is mine, this is me. People even don't ask to share for the sake of asking also when they eat anything. They don't even offer. While in Indian system, we first offer and we want to share.
Yes. Sharing is caring. Yeah.
So this is something which is very, very important. The other thing, today one electronic media person sent me a question where he wanted my video by it on these energy drinks. So then I looked at and Googled it, energy drinks, and they are actually more harmful than they do good to the body. What you, that day we tasted that orange drink.
Yeah.
I think those kind of drinks,
Turmeric,
coconut,
turmeric espresso, we call it.
turmeric espresso. And so I think we have to actually provide these things. They are not available to people. Coconut, of course, coconut water is available. In the tinned coconut fresh water is also available. Yeah. There are some fresh juices are also available. There is a make raw. I'm just mentioning here, but it's expensive. Most people can't afford. So I think we have to make these things more accessible, more affordable, so that people can use. If you have seen Roger Federer, who has been tennis champion for a long time, what he eats, Novak Djokovic, what he eats on the court when in between the timeout, banana for energy. So this is what they also follow this. They might be using these drinks in between, but we don't know what drinks they are. So energy drinks, they do more harm than good.
So, very true. And doctor, just adding there, in fact, when it comes to the beverages, in fact, we all know that we are 70%, 75% water. And the water itself is so powerful by the dissection of hydrogen and oxygen. And what is needed for the body is the hydration. And why we take those, bioactive based beverages, because that can supplement our gap in the nutrients, the food what we take. Absolutely right you are. And in fact, one more thing, when you talk of this fabric getting broken, perhaps it is also the fact that the competition, the comparison, the expectation, right, somewhere or the other, that has crept in so much, or that has become our education system, right? So that is also somewhere leading to the problems which, God forbids, tomorrow we might see the rising of the cancer or diabetes or hypertension or cognitive related issues, concerns. So somewhere or the other, the education is also a very important constituent in order to, we talk of health, well-being and all that. So it's a combination of multiple things, of course, but I thought to just say that simplicity, somewhere or the other, the discipline, the lifestyle part and other things, they play a very, very important role.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more on that. I will just use lift to go home.
Yes, yes.
I get briefly interrupted.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much. And I'll request Sharad Bhai to say what we said just now and Dr. Mishra ji said.
It was really a wonderful session, inaugural session. I would like to say that water is very important for our life.
Yeah.
60% of our body is water.
Yeah.
At the same time, the quality of water what we are drinking is also very, very important. Now, there are various alarming signals even in the quality of water. Most of us are using RO, reverse osmosis water, which makes more harm than good. Basically, it lowers pH, and consumption of low pH water over a period of time, it leaches calcium, magnesium from our body or from our food. And magnesium deficiency and calcium deficiency. Now we know that in India, at least over 80% or 85% even rather, people are suffering from vitamin D deficiency. and in whether it is a diabetic management or diabetic complications or various other chronic kidney disease, magnesium plays very important role in your nerves, bones, joints, muscles, and also vascular system health. Most of the anti-diabetic medicines, they deplete B12, and along with B12, there is also magnesium deficiency. So peripheral neuropathy or diabetic neuropathy, commonly known as DN or nephropathy, these are increasing with respect to these mineral deficiencies, which unfortunately coming through the wrong source of water and also the deficiency of these minerals in our day-to-day foods. So the message is every nutrient is very important. Its purity is important. Safety is important. So I would say just boil the water, filter it and drink it. Boiling will kill microorganisms. You don't require RO for killing microorganisms. So that is one. Another thing is alum plays a lot of role in making your water rich with magnesium. So that is another thing one can follow. The third thing I would like to say, the iodine deficiency. Along with iron deficiency, that I have already covered, iron deficiency, anemia, and low hemoglobin that leads to CKD, cancers, and also various types of lungs disorders, including COPD and various other lungs infections. Iodine, most of the cases, iodine deficiency leads to not only the thyroid problems, thyroid-related problems, weight gain, and various other issues, but also chronic fatigue syndrome. Now, at least 80% of people, we are all facing that fatigue or excessive or drain of energy or loss of energy, not only diabetics, but those who are non-diabetic, they are also facing chronic fatigue syndrome, which is known as fibromyalgia. So iodine deficiency is also need to be addressed. And the problem is increasing because with the hypertension norms, the salt consumption has been reduced. Salt is iodized. So normally the iodine goes through your salt. So when you reduce salt also, your iodine levels are depleted. And most of the lumps associated with breast cancer are linked with now iodine deficiency. So this is a very critical problem, that iodine supplementation becomes very, very critical, along with other essential nutrients like omega-3 or coenzymes like coenzyme Q10. And there are certain very good herbal actives like pomegranate and resveratrol. These particular things, they really help to boost your cardiac output. They improve your cardio function. They improve blood flow to heart and brain, and also the vascular function. And venous insufficiency can also be treated with this particular thing. Red spinach is enriched with nitrates. Basically, they are vasodilators, vasodilating effect. So it enhances the blood circulation. Arteries become flexible, like elasticity of your arteries increases. And with that, the chances of arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis, or even cardiac failures, heart failures, cardiomyopathy, myocardial infarction, these chances are drastically reduced with respect to the foods which are rich source of nitrates, like beetroot is another good example, red spinach, garlic. These are the excellent nitrates providers of the mother nature. So one has to really think of their entire system. Now, another thing is we have 100,000 million, 1 lakh million length of arteries, billions of arteries.
It is
and
called
three
times the circumference of Earth. The blood vessels.
So 2 times or 3 times of Earth. So that much we have capillaries, veins, and arteries together. And when they are clogged, the clogging is removed over 6-inch artery, that is coronary artery bypass. But what about remaining 100,000 miles of things? They are also getting clogged. So one has to take care that your blood circulation is good, and blood circulation enhancers like curcumin, turmeric, cinnamon, then your pomegranate, resveratrol, all ginger, tulsi, all these are very, very important factors which play a very important role in keeping you healthy. So in Nutrition Week, this is the initiative that authentic knowledge should reach to most of the people, including the medical experts, doctors, dietitians, nutritionists, so that the authentic information reaches to the ultimate end user, who is the patient.
Very true, very true.
And
So
with this small address that food is the medicine, again and again I say food is the medicine, because Anna Para Brahma. We say that Anna, what we eat, food, is the Brahma. And the entire Srushti, that is the nature, was created by Brahma. That all we know. Vishnu does the palanhar of this.
Yes.
It makes preservation of the entire nature over thousands of years is done by Vishnu. And Mahesh is rejuvenates, because everything needs to be rejuvenation. There has to be the recreativity or some innovations, and all those things are Maheshan. So all Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, these three tattva, they are present in our body in terms of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So these three elements are very, very important in determining our three factors, that is body, mind, and soul. Everything is based on three. So, and that is why I relate this to Bel Patra, which has got three leaves. Tridhanam, Trigunakaram, Trinetrancha, Triyayudham, Trijanma Papa Sambharam, Eka Bilvam Shivarpanam. Om Namah Shivaya.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sharadji is amazing. In fact, just one thing I'd like to reflect when we were talking about the water, and in fact, I'm going to speak on water on the last day of this event. Water has a memory, right? And we are 70% water inside, right? So when we are consuming the water, the memory is also going inside. Of course, the food also, what we take, when we are eating food, then we are eating food, not that we are holding a mobile phone or watching television. Then, the memory is also going inside. So I don't want to elaborate much on it. Probably this also is something very important. That's why we say the hydration doesn't happen even if people take 3-4 liters of water. Probably we do not know how to drink water. We do not know how to eat food. We do not know how to cook food. We just go and put it into a microwave, all the nutrients, they get burnt. So there are, tons of things, and that's where we believe that we have the clinician in our home as wife or mother. And in fact, they got to be, trained, educated, and, family members should realize the fact that, if they follow the discipline, right, I think the disease, the dis part will disappear and we'll all be at ease, what you said before. And so I think on the memory part of it, I'd like to specifically talk later on the water in particular, because though I'm a chartered accountant like Rajiv Bhai, but I think I was privileged to learn a lot, on this particular aspect, having some collaboration with some scientists. It'll be good to talk. So thank you so much, Sharad Bhai and Rajiv Bhai. What would you like to conclude with? Because this is something very interesting, very knowledgeable, very learning session. So over to you.
No, I would only like to just reflect, Anil Bhai, because we would have loved to hear you. Because for you, I've seen and watched over the years, are less of a chartered accountant and now more of a complete scientist, doctor, nutritionist, all into one. So it will be a pleasure to have you also. But I think I will just chip in with a few words among all these amazing, insightful. Comprehension and articulation, whatever we have heard from both Dr. Mishra and Dr. Sharad Kasarle, is the fact that I would look at from the way the our ancient culture is of India, Bharatvarsh as we call it, that everything is there in terms of all our scriptures, all our Vedas, all our articulation over the generations which has come about, and we need to go back to basics. And I think that is going to be extremely important as we shape up the education of the next generation or the coming generation for tomorrow. And it has to be that everybody should look at the basic way of living, not just to be on the roller coaster, don't have time to even enjoy what we are eating, don't have time to even drink appropriately what we are supposed to be drinking. Because as we and we all know, whether we eat a mango or we eat a banana, or we eat a carrot, or we eat the cucumber, once it goes inside us, it becomes us. When it's outside, it's got that shape. When it is going inside, so with what thought we eat, with what frame what we eat, how we enjoy, how we savor, how we take all those important ingredients into us, and that becomes a part of our body, that becomes what we are, that is what is going to shape up. So it's so important to ensure that we eat right, we drink right, and equally important, we exercise also. Exercising is just not physical exercising. Exercising is how do we interact with each other. If I'm meeting you with a scowl on my face, the scowl is in me. If I'm meeting Sharad bhai to discuss with him with an anger, it is not that it's going to be onto him, it's me only. It's my own psychic, my own body, my own mind, and that is equally important, that all these are different aspects of nutrition. And I think to live a complete holistic comprehensive life, where we not just lead by example, but also how we impress upon others, how we interact upon others, only then will we live a happy and a complete life. Otherwise, we all have a definite time frame on this earth. We all come, we do our roles, and we move on. But how we leave our space in the hearts of others, and like I've always believed, the purpose of life is to live it for something that shall outlast it. And I think these are important aspects of a complete wellness, complete aspect. Nutrition is one of the most important part, but nutrition is, all these are nutrition for us. Something is nutrition for the body, something nutrition for the mind, something nutrition for our own way of making a space for ourselves in the hearts of others. And I think I would just leave these few thoughts to say that wellness has to be comprehensive, and let's all, in whatever roles play we do, lead by example, shape up, engage, and make a difference. Every expression of ours should leave an impression, and I think that's what I would less like to leave the thought on. And thank you so very much. Really, humbled with this engagement and this wonderful session.
Thank you, Rajiv bhai. I think you got to have one session, to talk more in detail on this. And they are extremely important, because it is not just the food, what we eat, we become, but equally important, the other aspects also. And that's why the wellness definition is not just the physical wellness or the mental. It is emotional, it is spiritual, it is, multi-dimensional approach to the wellness is there. And they are all nothing but nutrition somewhere. They are connected to each other in order to have a combination of the energy of mind, body, and spirit. So that's truly called a whole person healing. So that is something we really, need to deliberate. Dr. Mishra ji, thank you so much if you are there, and would like to have a final word from you. And we're going to have sessions from tomorrow on some very exciting topics. And just for the viewers, let me tell you that we are going to have very interesting topics, and I would love, that you got to be there on time to listen. Dr. Sharad Kasarle is definitely going to be there on 2 occasions, going to speak on kitchen is your clinic, and followed by gut and brain connection, which is most important. Agar pet naram hai, to sar bhi naram hai, otherwise agar sar garam hai. So there is a lot of connectivity which Dr. Sharad will be talking about. And we also will have Dr. Ashok Kumar. Interestingly, he is, spent almost 2 decades in Harvard Medical School in US and worked only and only on a very important subject called chronic inflammatory disease. We all know that 80% of the disease, they arise due to inflammatory conditions. And of course, we know the oxidative stress combining together, they cover most of the diseases. And we'll also be fortunate to listen to Acharya Kaushal Kumarji, who is well-known personality, and he has been on the television several times. And after that, we will have a nutritionist and a fantastic person, as I know her, Shaili Mehta from United States. So she will be joining 4 o'clock in the morning, her time from US, and followed by Dr. Smriti. She has done a good amount of work on COPD biomarkers. And and yes, I forgot to mention that we'll have Dr. Viraj, who has spent almost 8 years with Taj Group of Hotels as Ayurveda consultant, and he has some very interesting insight with his practical experience he's going to talk about. And we would be ending our session with my conversation with you that water is life. And also, you would like to see some interesting product we're going to talk about, particularly Dr. Mishra ji talked about the turmeric espresso. We would like to reflect on that. And most important, Dr. Sharad also talked about the medium chain triglyceride MCT oil, which is extremely good. And we are lucky to have this product on board from world's best facility and probably most needed by millions of people. So with that, I would like Dr. Mishra ji to say the last final word, and then we end this session, and we will again meet tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Dr. Mishra ji. You are on mute, Dr. Sir.
Message is very simple. Keep life simple. Keep it simple.
Very true.
Don't
very
complicate it by, जिसको हम हिंदी में कहावत है ना हमारी कि अपनी चादर से ज्यादा पैर नहीं फैलाना है.
बिल्कुल सही बात है. बिल्कुल.
So you don't land up like that cafe coffee day.
Yes.
Person. So keep your limits and know your limits. Financial, social.
Beautiful.
Overdo things, and that's how you can maintain good relations.
Yes.
And there is everything for everyone in this world. When the God has sent so many people, then He has sent a lot of resources also.
Yes.
So that is only the time.
Yeah.
So even for young generation, I would say don't land up with a lot of debts of various kinds too quick. See, when I bought my first car after I don't know how many years of my in the All India Institute, and we were all the time discussing that should we not, because it will be expensive thing and all that. पहली मारुति फर्स्ट जनरेशन मारुति जो 82,000 की आती थी, उसके लिए भी हमने बहुत डिबेट करके फिर कार खरीदी थी. तो एंड आप सब कुछ आपका लाइफ में बन जाएगा कि only thing you have to keep the life simple, and that way you will remain happy. You will get everything in life, and don't try to become rich very quickly. Nobody should do that, because you know that brings in a lot of problems.
Very true.
If one wants to become rich very quickly, financially, monetarily, I'm saying, then people end up doing things which they should not be doing.
Very true. Very true.
This I tell my younger colleagues who come to me for counseling when they want to take up medicine. I said, it's a good profession. You will be much better than many other in this profession in your society. But the only thing, it is going to take longer for you to specialize and super specialize. And don't try to become rich. Your life will be decent, very, very, very decent life. But richness should not strike, and don't compare yourself with anybody. Be happy. I think that is something we learn. And that's what I tell my children who they are in USA. I tell them, you are working here, but live like India. Not like US.
Very true. Very true. तभी तो भारत को भारत माता बोलते हैं. The only country known in the world as Bharat Mata. Nobody uses, this is Mother Nature. And I'm sure Dr. Sharad is listening to me and he is highly passionate about this.
Yes, he has to be. We all have to be passionate about it.
Yes, yes.
See, everything is with us. India, fortunately, we have all weathers.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
nature. Nature has given us so much. Some Japanese asked somebody, you have plenty of sun. What more you need?
Yes.
In Europe, you go in winters, you don't see sun for days, for weeks together.
Yeah.
You will struggle to see sun. So, and we don't realize, we don't appreciate what we have. We only cribbing all the time that we don't have this, that, and X, Y, Z. So I think that's what I'm saying. Keep your requirement very low.
Yes.
Keep your life simple, and you will be happy. Don't compare. Never compare. So many of our doctors compare, वो साहब देखिए उसको MBA कर लिया है और बैंक इतना मिल रहा है उतना पैकेज मिल रहा है. मैंने कहा भाई, you can go up to 90 if you live healthy.
Yes.
And you can still benefit the society. Not everybody can do in society that thing. Those who are getting hefty salaries in corporate, their life span is very small.
Yeah.
So I think people have to just realize this and don't compare. You love what you do with passion, give your 100 or 200% in that, and that's it. Rest will come.
Very true. Very true. No, thank you, Dr. Saab. And that's why I say that, age should be not looked at the calendar age. It should be biological age and psychological age.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because calendar age is just a number, but if biologically we are fit and psychologically we are strong, probably age has got nothing to do with that.
And that is what Dr. Sharad is telling, that how you can keep that intact.
Yes.
And that's how, if Lord Krishna lived for 125 years, that's how he lived, because he believed in yoga. All kinds of karma yoga, sankhya yoga, and yoga otherwise. That's how he lived that long. In those days, 5,000 years ago.
Yes, yes, very true. In fact, Dr. I quote one example that 800 BCE, when the pyramids were built in Egypt, and the height of the pyramids is somewhere around 43-story building, and each of the stone is weighing about 60 tons. So same people that time, and they could create such a monument without any architecture, without any lift or cranes or anything. How they did it? We have forgotten that ancient knowledge.
You see your Kailasa temple?
Yes.
You have so many things which we don't. हम वो ताजमहल में भेज देते हैं सबको. इतनी चीज टूरिस्टिक उसके लिए इतना लोगों को सीखने के लिए कि क्या इंजीनियरिंग थी उस समय. How they did it. And people can't figure out how they did it.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Wonderful. Thank you so much. No words to.
So much. I think we enjoyed as much as I am sure those who are listening, they are seeing, and they can ask their questions. They can email.
Are there any questions, my friends? I think people are more than satisfied, and all the questions they get answered. Whatever we spoke in the last an hour and a half.
No, they can subsequently also they can write to
yes,
give them some email ID or something.
Yes, sure. And viewers, just to let you know that if you have any questions or any clarification, please drop in your mail at Anil, ANIL, @Yogicsecrets, YOGICSECRETS.com, or you can put this on our website. There is a section there where you can place your query, and we'll be more than happy to answer. And maybe you can on the comment box, you can also put your queries, and we'll be more than happy to answer. And request everyone to join from tomorrow until 7th. There are going to be a lot of exciting topics, and I'm sure these will help you, your family, your friends, your network tremendously. So thank you so much, and we'll close the session now, and we'll meet again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Thank you once again, Dr. Saab.
Keep safe, everyone.
Thank you.
Keep safe, keep simple, and maintain your health.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Enjoy.